Yesterday we completed with custom role creation, and during custom role creation we discussed two options. So manually creating a custom role from the scratch, and other option is creating it by duplicating the existing similar role and adding the removing the privileges, okay, and providing the right data access. And we also complete with implementation project creation, and I'll be discussing today enterprise structure concept. Enterprise structure. So those who are having EB's experience, those who are having EB's experience, I'm comparing the Fusion applications enterprise structure with the EBS. Okay. So in EBS, it is called as a multi-host structure. Enterprise is equivalent to the business unit, and the division, there is no comparison with EBS. And ledger is same, legal entity is same, but operating unit has replaced with the business unit in Fusion. There is no difference in the item master ordination, inventory ordination, sub inventory, and locator. Okay. So the difference you will see in two places. One place is operating unit is replaced by the business unit, and the business group is replaced with the enterprise. Enterprise. Okay. So what is enterprise and what is division? So we'll discuss that. Enterprise is an umbrella of the company. Enterprise is an umbrella of the company. An example, Oracle Corporation is an enterprise. Oracle Corporation is an enterprise. Under Oracle Corporation, Oracle is having different line of businesses. One is Oracle Consulting, Oracle Product Development, and Oracle Education, Oracle University. Okay, so multiple line of businesses is Oracle is having. And well-known example, we'll take Reliance Corporation. Reliance Corporation is an enterprise. So enterprise is a top level entity. Reliance Corporation is an enterprise. Under Reliance Corporation, Reliance Entertainment, Reliance Digitals, Reliance Supermarkets. So all those are the different line of businesses that Reliance is having. In the similar way, Tata also. Okay. So enterprise, it is an umbrella of the company, and it's a top level entity. And examples are Oracle Corporation, Reliance Corporation, or GE Corporation. Those are the examples. And what is meant by division? Division is a classification according to the geography, nothing but region, or according to the line of business, So if you take an example of Reliance Corporation is an enterprise, and Reliance Entertainment is one division, and Reliance Supermarkets is another division, and Reliance Petroleum or Reliance Supermarkets is another division, because Reliance has got different line of businesses. It is into different streams. It has different products. Okay. Suppose if you take Aurobindo. So Aurobindo is into pharma. Pharma is one line of business, nothing but one division. And recently Aurobindo has started construction also. So Aurobindo Constructions is another line of business, which means another division. Okay. So division is nothing but a line of business, a different line of businesses that we are having. Suppose let us take Tech Leads. So Tech Leads is into training, and Tech Leads is into staffing services also. Staffing. If you want to consider both of them as a two separate businesses, as two separate line of businesses, then we should call them as two separate divisions. So Tech Leads training is one division, and Tech Leads staffing services is another division. Okay. So now I'm giving an examples based on the line of business. Okay. We can also create divisions according to the geography or region. Which means let us assume Tech Leads is into just trainings only. We have only one line of business, but we have spread across the globe. So I would like to create divisions based on the region. So I am going to create divisions like this. APAC, uh, based on APAC or based on EMEA or based on Asia specific. I'll be creating regions like that. Otherwise, I can also create like this: India division, US division, Canada division, Australia division. I can also create a division according to the country also. Okay. So the divisions creation, it's according to the line of business, or it is according to the region specific, or it can be both. It can be both also. Okay. So those are the examples for divisions, but division setup is optional in Fusion. It is not mandatory to be created. It is optional. As of now, in all my projects, we have not created any divisions. Divisions we have not created. Okay. And the first two entities are in yellow color. The reason is it is in real time. It is a responsibility of a HCM consultant. In real time, it is the responsibility of a HCM consultant. That's why it is in yellow color. So HCM consultant has to configure enterprise, and HCM consultant has to configure the divisions. It's not our job. We are supply chain consultants. So our job is in blue color. In real time, this is what we do, which is in blue color. Okay. But the yellow one is HCM consultant, and the green one is financial consultant job. Financial consultant job. So what is this? Ledger. What is meant by ledger? Suppose if you have observed or if you have seen accounting offices, they will be, let us take an example of clerk. So if you take clerk is going to maintain different books, is going to maintain different books. So for salaries, clerk is going to maintain one book, and for regular expenses, one book, and for for supplier payments, one book, and for customer receipts, one book. So the clerk is going to maintain different books. When you report any transaction to the clerk, what clerk is going to do? The clerk is going to pick up that respective book and he's going to make an entry in that book. He's going to make an entry in that book. Okay, it is for a small company. So what the clerk is doing, all financial transactions, the clerk is maintaining in the books. At the end of the year or on monthly basis or a quarterly basis or half-yearly basis, what clerk is going to do? Clerk is going to consolidate all these books information and he is going to give us a profit and loss report or trial balance report. He's going to consolidate all these books and he's going to give a profit and loss report or trial balance report. So I'm a CEO of the company. What I'm interested to look at the profit and loss report, or I'm interested to look at the trial balance report. I need that report to see the performance or the profit related to my business. So if it is a small company, that is how the operations happens. But if it is a big company, whenever you perform any transaction in the application, so big companies are going to maintain ERP applications, right? So whenever you make a transaction in the application, the transaction is a financial transaction. So you have made a payment against an invoice, or you paid rent, or you paid a current bill or water bill, or you paid salaries. Any financial transaction that you are performing in the system, that is going to hit to the ledger. That is going to hit to the ledger. Okay. In the ledger also, like clerk is maintaining separate books, right? In the similar way, in the ledger, we can maintain separate accounts. In the ledger, we can maintain separate accounts. So one account for rent, one account for salaries, one account for payments, one account for receipts, one account for salaries. Like how we are maintaining a different books, in the similar way, we can maintain separate accounts in the ledger. And we can automate the system in a such a way, if the transaction is coming for salaries, it should hit to the salaries account. If the transaction is coming for rent, it should hit to the rent account. If the transaction is coming out of payments, it should hit to the payments account. That way we can automate using the SLA. But that is a pure financial concept, but I'll be explaining the SLA because I'm aware of SLA and I worked on SLA also. So I'll be explaining the SLA. Okay. So in single sentence, ledger is going to maintain all the financial transactions of the company with different accounts. With different accounts. Not only account, you might be having different companies. You might be having different companies. For different companies, you can maintain different accounts. Or you might be having different departments. Let us take IT companies, Oracle department, SAP department, Microsoft department, and you want to track your financial transactions according to the department. That is also possible. You can maintain a separate accounts for Oracle, SAP, Microsoft, and at the end of the month, you can see what is the expenses of Oracle department or SAP department or Microsoft department. We can track according to your requirement, according to client requirement. I mean to say, according to the client requirement, we can maintain a separate accounts. We can maintain a separate accounts in the ledger itself, like how we are maintaining the books. So those accounts are based on the company or department or account. Account in the sense rent account, salary account, right? The type of the account. Okay. So in real time, the ledger creation or configuration and maintenance is going to do by a financial consultant. Next one, legal entity. Legal entity. Legal entity. So TechLeads IT is a legal company. Why it is a legal company? Because I had registered TechLeads IT with the government. It's a legal company. It's a legal entity. Because if you want to operate a business, you have to take the permissions from the government. So you have to register the company with the government. That is nothing but a legal entity. That is nothing but a legal entity. So it's according to the line of businesses that you are having, that many legal entities has to be created in the application. So if you take an example of Aurobindo, Aurobindo is already having a legal approval for pharma. That means pharma is one legal entity. It does not mean it can do any other business, right? It has to take approval for other business. So it is into constructions now. So it has to take the approval for construction business also. That is a separate legal entity. That is a separate legal company. So according to the line of businesses the client is having, that many legal entities are there, that many legal entities we need to create in the application. So if you take Aurobindo case, Aurobindo is having two legal companies. That means we need to create two legal entities. And also these legal companies are country specific, mostly country specific, because you have taken a legal permission in India and you cannot do an operations in US, right? Or you cannot do operations in other country. You can do operations in India only. If you want to do operations in US, again, you have to take the permissions in US and you have to register your company in US also according to their norms. According to their norms, right? So the legal entity is specific to the line of business and specific to the country that you are operating. So if you take Aurobindo example, two legal companies are there. That means two legal entities. Suppose if the Aurobindo is having the operations in US also, again, two legal entities. Because legal entities are specific to the line of business and country. So this information that has to be collected from the client, and all the silly information you should not ask the client, because if you go to the client website, you can find out some information about the client, because the client time is really valuable, and you have to prepare with that meeting. So it's not that you ask every question to the client. You should do your background work, like understanding the client business, understanding the client portfolio from the client website or by recent news that is posted by the client in the web. So that if the client has misses something, you can ask the client, so you have this business also, why you're not telling me that, what is the reason? You can ask you can ask questions to the client as well. Okay, so that is about ledger and legal entity, and both are a financial consultant role and responsibility to be taken care. Okay, any questions so far? Any questions so far from anyone?
So can you once repeat about the division part in HCM role? Like
Division
over
is
just over.
line of business. If you are holding a company and you are into one stream or one type of business, that is nothing but one division that you are having. So yeah, you're into another type of business, that is another division.
Okay.
So beginners, you're comfortable, right? Is it Nagasai?
Yes, Krishna.
Nagasai, I think you have not attended yesterday class, right? What I have
Yeah,
completed in the yesterday class? What
yeah,
concepts
yeah,
I have
yeah,
completed in the yesterday class?
yeah. I'm comfortable.
I'm asking a question. Have you attended yesterday class?
No.
What concepts I completed in the yesterday class?
Yeah, I need to see that because I think that I didn't have link from your side,
Hmm.
and I asked Padma.
Hmm.
She
So
said that
please practice as early as you can. I understand your
yeah,
point,
yeah,
but don't delay it.
yeah, sure,
Please go through the videos and practice the application as early as you can.
sure, Krishna.
Let's talk about the blue ones. It's our responsibility, right? Blue ones. And beginners, if I do a comparison with EBS, you can ignore that point, because that point I'm explaining to the people who are already on EBS. Okay, so
Yes, sir.
beginners can ignore it. Okay, so the operating unit has replaced with the business unit in Fusion. Okay, what are the differences? What exactly an operating unit or a business unit? What exactly an operating unit or a business unit? It's an example. Uh, Suppose an example. Branch manager and regional branch manager. So you have heard of these terms, right? Branch manager and regional branch manager. Okay. So this guy is a Hyderabad branch manager. That guy is a Bangalore branch manager. And for all these branch managers, there is a regional branch manager. Okay. So in the similar way, you can consider a branch as an inventory ordination, and business unit as a regional branch. Business unit as a regional branch. Okay, and uh, from business to business, the terminology is different. From business to business, suppose if you take uh, if you take manufacturing, suppose I have a plant in Hyderabad, I have a plant in Bangalore, then inventory ordination is called as a plant is a business term, branch is a business term, but inventory ordination is a application specific term, it is a technical term. Bharat, the inventory ordination is a technical term. But what is the business terminology here? The business terminology is branch is the business terminology. The branch is nothing but inventory ordination only. Plant is nothing but inventory ordination only. I have a manufacturing plant in Hyderabad. That is one my inventory ordination. and I have a manufacturing plant in Bangalore, that is another inventory ordination I have. And I have one in Delhi, that is one more inventory ordination that I have. Okay. So if you're into manufacturing, then your inventory ordinations are nothing but your manufacturing plant. Suppose, let us take tech leads. Tech leads, we cannot call our our places as a plants or branches. We can call it at least branches, but plants we cannot call it as. We're going to call tech leads places as a institutes. I have an institute in Hyderabad. I have an institute in Bangalore and Chennai. That means how many inventory organizations I have? 3 inventory organizations I have. 3 inventory ordinations I have. So the inventory ordination, the business terminology is different from business to business. If you are into manufacturing, then the inventory ordination is nothing but a manufacturing plant. For training stream, it is called as an institute. And for other businesses, you might call it as a branch, or you might call it as some other word. Inventory ordination is a technical term. The branch, plant, and institutes are business way of calling. Okay. I have one inventory ordination in Hyderabad. That means one institute, and I have one more institute in Bangalore. I have one more institute in Chennai. That means how many inventory ordinations I'm having? 3 inventory ordinations. Okay, nothing but 3 institute. Okay, so both falls under south, right? Hyderabad, Bangalore falls under south. Okay, so this you can consider as an operating unit or a business unit. This you can consider as a operating unit or a business unit. So I mean, you can completely consider total India. India is south region and east region, north region, and west region. So it's been divided into regions, right? So I'm talking in that region specific slang. Okay. Otherwise, you can also define like this: simply India operating unit or business unit. You can simply define like this: India operating unit or business unit. Okay. Or else we can have like separations in India itself: south, north. Suppose if you take north, if you take north, Delhi, okay, other north regions that you are operating. Okay, so what happens if I classify like this? What happens if I want to see the performance of my south region, I can track easily. If I want to see the performance of north region, I can track easily. Okay, and some examples in this is India example, right? Some examples in US is South California, North California, South California, and North California states. The states are nothing but inventory ordinations, and South California, North California is nothing but the operating units that you are maintaining. Okay. If you don't want to classify like this, you can start to maintain, like as I told you, simply India. No region specific, no south, no north, just India operating unit or business unit. So when you're taking the orders from the customers, if the customer is requesting the material near to Hyderabad or Bangalore or Chennai, you can take that order under the south operating unit. If the customer is requesting the material near to Delhi, then you can take the order under north operating unit. Or if the customer is requesting, because your business is across the globe, so the customers may ask you for the material from any country. If the customer is asking for India, then you can take the order in India. Or if the customer is asking for US, then you can take the order under US operating unit or business unit. So this is just a bad understanding example, but no client is going to create operating units or business units like this. So they will be creating operating units and USS according to the country. According to the country, India operating unit, US operating unit, Canada operating unit. Who is this Visa 10,000? Somebody is trying to connect to the session. I see his device name as Visa 10,000. Should I admit or ignore? So that's why I always ask you to change the device name before you connect. Because if you are connecting this way, I cannot understand whether you are a right participant or a wrong participant because of the security issues. Let me admit, and let me see who is that. Visa 10,000. Who is Visa 10,000? He is not connected to the audio. When you are connecting to the session, change the device name or enter your name in the meeting before you connect. Who is Visa 10,000? Who is connected? Hello. If you don't respond, I have to remove you from the meeting. Who is that? Hello.
Krishna, this is actually Viraj.
Okay, Veera. I think you connected from some device and that device name is showing as Visa
Yes,
10,000.
yes, correct.
Yeah. Before you connect to the meeting, please change your right name.
Sure, sure,
For security reasons, I cannot allow unknown people into the meeting. Okay.
sure, sure.
Okay. And so this is how the client prefers to create the operating units or business unit, like India business unit, US business unit, and Canada business unit, and Australia business unit. So this is the regular way of creating the business units in the projects. Okay. So under India operating unit, you have inventory ordinations, like as I told you, Hyderabad or whatever, Bangalore or Chennai or Delhi, everything falls under India. So these are the inventory ordinations under India. And then if you take US, US also New York, Chicago, not sure about the spelling of Seattle or Boston. Okay, so this is all. So simply the inventory ordinations are nothing but cities or states, and business unit is nothing but a country. Nothing but a country. Okay. And technical explanation for business unit is, from business unit we control the sales orders, we control the purchase orders, because we take the sales orders at business unit level and we take the purchase orders at business unit level itself. And we make the payment to the supplier from business unit level, and also we receive the payment from the customer from the business unit level. So sales, purchases, payments, receipts are maintained at business unit level, those transactions. So this is a critical explanation of the business unit and inventory ordination. But once I configure this in the system, and when you started using the business unit and inventory ordination, so you have a better picture. You have a better picture. So we discussed about what is business unit and what is inventory ordination, right? And we need to discuss about what is item master org. What is item master ordination? So item master ordination has created for our flexibility. For our flexibility. Here's an example. So let's take an example of TechLead Society. So for TechLead Society, what are my products? My products are nothing but my courses. I'm going to sell my courses. So you are my customer. I'm your supplier. What I'm supplying to you, I'm supplying the courses to you. So what are my products? My products are supply chain, financials. What you are buying from me, you're buying from me is supply chain, financials, or HCM. This is what you are buying. So HCM is one product, so finance is one product, and HCM is one product. So these are the products that I'm selling to you. So I need to define these products in the system, right? I need to define, okay? So from Hyderabad branch or institute, I'm delivering or I'm offering these three products. And also I'm offering same products in Bangalore also. I'm offering same products in Bangalore also. And also I'm offering the same products in Chennai also. Okay. I'm offering same products in Chennai also. Here I'm defining my products in Hyderabad, and the same products I'm defining in Bangalore also, same products I'm defining in Chennai also. I have three branches, nothing but three inventory ordinations. If I have 1,000 inventory ordinations, if I have 1,000, then 1,000 into 3. So here we are losing time. One thing, we are losing time because the same products we are defining in multiple inventory ordinations. And also we are introducing the duplication in the application. We are introducing the duplication in the application. As per normalization rules, you know, database normalization rules, right? As per normalization rules, duplication should be avoided. 4 normalization rules are there, right? First normal rule and second normal rule. Some of the normal rule, it says that duplication should be avoided in the database. So to achieve that, what we do is we create a logical org. Logical org is nothing but it exists in the system. If I say Hyderabad inventory or Bangalore inventory or nation or Chennai, they are physical locations. So my institute or my branch is available in Hyderabad, Bangalore, and Chennai. It's a physical location. But whereas item master ordination, it's logical. It won't exist physically. It logically exists in the system. It logically exists in the system. So what I do is I'll create these three products here first. SCM or finance. I'll create first here. Okay, and I don't define here. I'll just reference from the master ordination to the inventory ordination. That's it. I created here, right? All my products I'm going to define, see the name itself, item master org. That means all your products are you're maintaining here, item master. Nothing but a product master, item master. So you're defining all your items here. And those items you are referring to the Hyderabad, Bangalore, and Chennai. Okay. Suppose if you're delivering 3 products in Hyderabad, assign the 3 products to Hyderabad. And if you're just delivering 2 products in Bangalore, just assign only 2 products to Bangalore inventory entity. Assign only 2 products to Bangalore entity, that is SCM and finance. If you're dealing HCM in Chennai, just assign only HCM in Chennai. That means in Hyderabad you are offering 3 products, but in Bangalore you are offering just first 2 products, and in Chennai you are offering this last product, that is HCM. So you define in master ordination and assign it to the inventory ordinations according to the offering. Need not to assign all the products to the inventory ordinations, whichever the products that you are offering in that places, assign to that inventory ordinations. So item master ordination is logical ordination. Item master ordination is a logical ordination which exists only in the system. It is not a physical location like our inventory ordinations. It is a logical ordination. And the significance of this org is all our items or products we define here, and those products we are going to assign to the inventory ordinations. We are going to assign to the inventory ordinations. That means you are defining once and you are assigning the same products to the different inventory ordinations that you are having. So it is a repository of all your products. Because we are just assigning human capital management or HCM product to Chennai. So Chennai will be holding HCM only. But this item master organization is holding all your products. Okay. So that is about item master organization. And what is a sub inventory? And what is a locator? What is a sub inventory and what is a locator? I have inventory ordinations, right? So the sub inventories are under inventory ordinations. So in Hyderabad, I have the sub inventory is an application terminology. Sub inventory is an application terminology, and warehouse is a business terminology. Warehouse. Okay. I have one warehouse in Uppal. I have one warehouse in BHL. I have one more in ACIL. How many warehouses I'm having? 3. You know what is meant by warehouse, right? You know what is meant by warehouse. So what is meant by warehouse?
Where you store your inventory.
Where we store our stock.
Yes.
That is a warehouse. But in application, we are calling it as a sub inventory. We're calling it as a sub inventory in the application. But in real time, instead of creating the warehouse names like this, they're going to maintain the, some clients, they prefer to maintain the warehouse names with the place names itself. Warehouse names are nothing but place names. Okay. So some companies, they prefer to name like this, office, nothing but they have a warehouse in the office itself. Okay. Or they are taking services from some third party. So they're going to create the third party place also as a warehouse. So office is nothing but you're maintaining some stock in your office itself. That is one sub inventory. And third party is nothing but you are asking somebody to maintain your stock. So you are calling that as a third party in your system. So these are some examples. Otherwise, we can also define sub inventories like RM, raw material sub inventory, finished goods sub inventory, or scrap sub inventory. Okay. Or QA sub inventory, nothing but quality sub inventory. So we can also create sub inventories with the type of variant. With the type of variant of the product. So all finished goods you will maintain under finished good sub inventory, and all raw material you maintain under raw material sub inventory, and you have a scrap sub inventory, and you have a QA sub inventory also. So this is most commonly used naming conventions for sub inventories in real time. Most commonly used, and also one more is stores. Most commonly used warehouse names, sub inventory names. So this is according to the type of material, but this definition is according to the place where you are storing the stock. According to the place, like the name of the place, or it's not a name of the place, it's where you are storing the stock, in your office or maybe in third party. That is called sub inventory. So these sub inventories are defined under inventory org level. That means Hyderabad is having some sub inventories, and Bangalore is having some sub inventories, and Chennai is also having some sub inventories. Because if you say you have 1,000 stock in Hyderabad, that 1,000 stock is in which warehouse? You're talking about 1,000 stock is available in Hyderabad. The 1,000 stock is available under which warehouse? Is that Uppal or BHL or ECL? In which warehouse it is having? That means ultimately the stock is going to stored under warehouse itself. The stock is going to store under warehouse itself. So that is the reason every inventory organization must be having a single sub inventory. Every inventory organization must be having a single sub inventory, because inventory is not going to hold the stock. The sub inventory which is under inventory is going to hold the stock. Okay. And what is locator? What is locator? So locator is exact location in the sub inventory. So a good example is a library. Library is a good example. So in the library, we do certain partitions to store our material, because you cannot simply dump your all material into that place, right? You have to partition it. And for that partition, you are going to give a name, A block or B block. Okay. Or not only library. If you take any medical shop like Apollo or Hetero Pharmacy or MedPlus, they maintain the stock in a proper partition. Suppose if you're asking for a medicine, they will check in the system for two reasons. One is that medicine is available or not. If it is available, that medicine is under which box? It is under which rack? It is under which row? It is under which box? Suppose if I'm a new employee. If I go to the store, or if I started working in the store, if somebody asks me a medicine, I can simply check in the system and I can go to that rack. I can go to that box. I can easily pick that medicine and give it to that guy. Right? So locator is nothing but it's a portion, or it's a partitions that we are maintaining in the sub inventory. And for every partition, we are going to give a name. We are going to give a name, which row, which rack, or which bin, or which box. So this row, rack, bin, the partition names can be different from client to client. This row, rack, bin is a common partition naming convention, but it can be different based on the client uses and client requirement. Okay. So locator are defined under sub inventory, and sub inventories are defined under inventory organization, and inventory organizations are defined under business unit. Okay. So business unit is having the inventory organizations, and inventory, the reverse way I'm explaining. Inventory organizations are having the sub inventories, and sub inventories are having the locators. And locator is optional. If you want to maintain locators for sub inventory, maintain it. If your warehouse is big warehouse, if it is a big sub inventory, then better to maintain the locators. And one more very good example is cold storage. If you're a farmer, if you are storing your mirchi or some cotton in the cold storage, so they will give you some location to your stock. So if you come back after 2 years or 3 years, they can simply look at the location that is mentioned in your slip or in their system. They can easily identify your stock is stored under which place inside that big cold storage. So locators is optional. If your warehouse is big, then create locators. Otherwise, locators are, if your warehouse is really small, don't create locators. Not required. So locators is optional. Locators is optional. Okay. And I have to spend some time here. We discussed what is business unit, but the differences I have to explain. with the operating unit to the business unit, because these differences has given a lot of flexibility in Fusion, and a lot of flexibility along with features with its difference. Okay, that I'll be explaining after taking your questions. Any questions in this? For beginners, I ask you or request you to go to the video again after the session.
Sir, can you explain inventory organization once again?
Inventory organization is a branch. So you have worked under one. You said something like one e-commerce company, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that e-commerce company is having how many? It is located in how many places?
Hyderabad, Bangalore, Pune, many.
That is inventory organization. So you call it as inventory organization technical terminology, but how you call them as like Hyderabad, Bangalore, you call them as a branch, or what is the word that you use to call them?
And what is the difference between business unit and inventory organization then?
I'm asking a question, so why don't you answer before
Yes, sir.
you
Yes.
clarify your next question? What you call them?
We call it a site, Hyderabad site, Bangalore site, like that.
Okay, so site is the business terminology and inventory organization is the application and terminology. Clear, right?
Yes.
Okay, next question, please.
Yeah, difference between inventory organization and business. That's all. They're the same one.
Business unit, there is a difference, of course. So business unit is holding the different sites. So again, the question to you, so to make you understand in your own way. So you have a site manager, right?
Yeah.
So site manager is nothing but an inventory manager, correct?
Yes.
And site manager is having a head office. Where that head office is located?
Bangalore.
So yeah, that head office is nothing but a business unit.
Okay.
Okay, so because see, you can receive orders to Bangalore, and from there you can decide the order has to be passed to which site to fulfill that order.
Yes.
Okay, so this is how you need to think, not only because everybody has to think in a business way, because when you're doing an implementation with the client also, this is how you need to think. And this is how you have to approach with your questions with the client. And client may not know what is inventory org and what is business unit. Client may not know. You have to make client to understand, because this is Oracle application terminology, not a business terminology. So you have to make the client to understand these technical words in the business slang. Okay. So when you are learning the application, you have to feel like you are holding a business. And if you are holding a business, what you do, how you operate, that is how your thinking strategy should be. Okay. And also, if you have time, go to YouTube and start looking at the videos. I mean to say, just type supply chain and ignore the Oracle ERP videos, and try to watch the business related videos. Some people, they'll explain you what is supply chain management, or what is order management, or what is procurement. If you wanted to see how a big warehouse looks like, just type big warehouse, Amazon warehouses. Just type like that, so that you see the warehouse videos and how they are storing the material in the warehouse, and how they are picking the material from the warehouse, and how properly they are segregating it. So such kind of videos you can, and how they are doing the packing, and before they deliver to the customer, what they are doing, they are going to do the labeling, right? So before you deliver the box to the customer, you have to label that box, and again you have to verify quality before you deliver to the customer, because you need to make sure that you are delivering a quality product to the customer, right? So you have to verify it. So what they are doing exactly before they deliver to the customer. So these kind of videos you can find from the YouTube itself. Okay, next question, please.
Can you explain item master organization?
Item master organization is a logical log. So we define all our items in the item master log. All our items in the item master organization, and that we assign to the inventory organizations. So if you don't have item master organization, what we do, Joab? Let us assume you don't have item master organization, then what do you have to do?
If you don't have,
If you don't have item master organization, what you are going to do? So please concentrate in the
Each organization you will define your item, right?
yeah. So please concentrate in the meeting. So don't. I mean, you'll be in front of the system, but your mind is somewhere else. So don't do like that. Especially in case of online trainings, you have to pull all your concentration to the. You might be diverted with different thoughts because you're sitting alone in your home. So that you have to control. You have to meditate yourself to concentrate on the explanation. Not like a classroom training. But there are a lot of advantages out there because of the online training, because you are avoiding the traveling cost and traveling time, and that you can save to practice. That you are saving the money and you are saving the time, and that you can save to practice. But only thing is you have to concentrate a lot, and you should get a good instructor also. Good instructor in the sense, the instructor should talk to everyone. Should talk to everyone. It's just not one way. It should be a two-way. I'm just explaining and I'm just closing the meeting. It's not like that. So I should need to talk to you, and I have to allow you to ask me questions. That is how it happens. And in some classes, I used to switch on to videos also, but since some, I don't want to. I mean, some background may not be good. Maybe your family is doing their works in the morning, so that is the reason I'm not asking you to turn on your videos. Otherwise, that is the really better way of teaching. If everybody turns on video, I can also see you're concentrating here or not. Okay. So you have what happens is, if you don't have item master organization, all your products or items has to be created under each inventory organization: Hyderabad, Bangalore, and Chennai. You have to create everywhere. So the 3 products I'm dealing with and 3 inventory organization. That means how many times I have to create?
9.
9. Okay. And I have the same items here, and I have the same items here. I have the same items here. It is a duplication, right? Redundancy.
Yes.
Redundancy. So redundancy is not allowed in the database normalization form rule, right? So to avoid the redundancy or to avoid the duplication, we are creating a master organization for our flexibility. Okay, and we define all our products here, and that we are going to assign to the. We don't define here, we just assign here, and we just assign here, we just assign here. And that too, one more flexibility is there. So in Hyderabad, I'm offering all these 3 products, but in Bangalore, I'm just offering first 2 products. I'm going to assign only first 2 products to Bangalore. And in Chennai, I'm just offering HCM product. So I'm going to assign HCM in Chennai. Okay.
Okay.
And also these are the physical locations. So physically I'm located here, but item master organization is a logical org. Just to achieve this concept, it only appears in the system. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Any more questions?
You explained in the hierarchical view about how one falls under the other, like business unit falls under, the locator falls under sub inventory, then that falls under inventory organization, and that falls under business unit. So where does item master org stand in this?
That's okay. I mean, when I configure, you'll understand. So if I explain too much also, you get
Mhm.
confused. Not maybe you,
Okay.
others may get confused.
Okay.
That is the reason I
And
didn't.
okay, sure. And one more thing that was like picking me was that after GH, is there a subpoint missed because there's J point again?
J is located, right? J point is located.
He's saying alphabetically H I J. I, where is I? Right.
Okay. I might have missed it. That's it.
I just thought is there some point went out of the sheets or something. Okay, that's
No, I understand what you're saying.
Krishna, one question, like might be this would be related to previous lectures. So when we say supply chain, so what all is covered, like manufacturing, procurement, everything comes under supply chain, or it is runs in a different module? Like I'm
Supply
talking with
chain.
respect to business.
Okay. I'll answer your question after the meeting. Okay. After the meeting, I'll answer. Any more questions towards the concept?
Krishna, something. So, if the any products duplicate in the sub inventory, which will be we can trade in the item master organization, logical organization.
You're not framing your question properly. Santosh.
For example, like the inventory organization, in one city we have two different branches. The two different branches we have finished goods warehouses, like two different branches. So,
You can
which
create
are
as a
duplicate.
you can create as a two inventory organizations, no problem.
Oh, okay.
You can
So,
create
like
them as two.
okay, like that in number of inventory organizations in it is in one city also, right?
No problem, you can create. If
Okay,
it is
thank
not a warehouse, you can create it as an inventory.
you. Okay, thank you.
In item master, when we define an item, do we put the cost also there? Like cost?
No, cost is
No.
controlled from the cost org level, not even inventory org. There is something called cost org concept. So cost is entered at cost org level.
Here we just define
That also covered in the costing model. Yeah, go ahead.
Here we'll just define the item and we'll get the item IDs, right?
Correct. So only item definition, it is there in the item master org or inventory org. But item cost is entered at the cost org level. So we have three inventory ordinations here, right? For all these three inventory ordinations, we can define one cost ordination. We can define one cost ordination and we can enter the item cost. And we can enter the item cost individually. I mean to say, for Hyderabad, you can enter $10, or Bangalore, you can enter $11, and Chennai, you can enter $8. We can also define individually, but cost is something controlled at org level, cost org level.
This SLA which you have written in ledger, this is subledger accounting or what?
Correct.
Okay.
Mansi, you're good? Prashanta?
Yeah, Krishna, I'm good.
Krishna, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm good, Jagdaj.
Okay, so Krishna, I was saying this is very thorough and detailed. Thanks. I have some questions. I would like to take it one-on-one with you or Padma.
Okay. Yeah. After the meeting, we can discuss that, Prashant.
So Krishna, when we go for a fresh implementation, suppose we are going to meet a client, so what all consideration like we should keep in mind before going in a meeting with the client? Like we should know there how many warehouses are there and all those things. Like how
we cannot know that detail level information. We may not know. But maybe if somebody has already discussed with the client from your before giving the estimate. So how you give the estimate? You give the estimate according to the client volume or client operations and client countries, right? So if somebody is already discussed with the client, if they have some information, then better to talk to them and then get the information that they have. about the client and try to do collect some information from the web. So that is what I say.
And how we will decide we have to use the division concept or not? Like, because it is similar to business unit, right?
Yeah, so that's the division concept. As I said, we not implemented in any of the projects. Not only my projects, in my friend's project also. I have not seen anyone is using the division concept, and I didn't really tell you where this exactly fit in the application and to be useful for the client. Even I don't know that because we not used it or we are not implemented the division concepts in any of the projects or not my friends.
And suppose we are doing a implementation for one of the client and they want to do item conversion. So what all points should we keep? Like
You are
we should
distracting
consider.
from the
Okay.
you're distracting from the
No.
original concept to a different question. So if you have such kind of generic questions, we can discuss after the meeting. And if you have any questions on the concept that I explained, you can ask me.
Okay. I want to connect with you. Like I have few my questions.
Yeah. So we'll discuss that separately because the questions that I'm expecting out of the concept which I explained today. Yeah. That is more relevant to be in this session and to be in the recorded video. Okay, now the comparison which I'm making it for experienced folks so who are already working on EBS or Fusion. So I'm giving that comparison to them. So beginners, whatever you understand, just understand it. And if you don't understand any point, you can ignore, no problem. So in case of operating unit, so in the Krishna material folder, there is one document called enterprise structure. So which is having the definitions about what is enterprise and some examples. In case of EBS, this is what happens, right? So we create a requisition and purchase order, and we do the payment under each operating unit, right? So consider this as operating unit. This is what happens in EBS. So under the same operating unit, we create a purchase order. Under the same operating unit, we make the payment to the vendor, nothing but supplier. But in case of Fusion, because of the business unit concept and flexibility, this model we can achieve. This model. What is this model? What is this model? This is a kind of a global procurement. What is meant by global procurement? What is meant by global procurement? Suppose a global procurement in your home, if you want to buy anything, you need your father permission. You need your father permission, right? So that means your father is a controller of your purchases. In a similar way, if the company is big and if the company is spread across the globe, US is your headquarter, then if your company decides everything should be controlled from the headquarter only, every purchase should be controlled from the headquarter only. In that situations, India, Australia, or Canada or China, all other entities has to request US. Then US is going to buy from the supplier. So that is called as a global procurement. So here, India business unit and US or China business unit, India business unit or China business unit are requesting here. See here, requesting. But buying is done by a centralized entity, and payment is also done by that entity itself. Let us assume this is US. So India is requesting and China is requesting to US, and US is creating a purchase order and US is making the payment to the supplier. US is making the payment to the supplier, and US is going to send you intercompany invoice. US is going to send you intercompany invoice. So US is directly purchasing for you. And when US is creating a purchase order, in the purchase order, the US is going to specify the India location and it's going to specify the China location. So what happens, the supplier is going to directly deliver to the India location and China location, which is specified in the purchase order. So in the purchase order, you are ordering for 2 products. One product I want for India location and one product I want for China location. So your supplier is going to deliver the product to that respective locations. So you are ordering from US and the supplier, you're mentioning the locations to which locations you want the product, and the supplier is delivering the product to that locations, and you are making the payment to the supplier straight away, and intercompany invoice you are generating between the entities. So this is achievable in Fusion. So centralized procurement. This concept is called as centralized procurement. This is called as decentralized. Decentralized is nothing but all operations are happening, request and then buying, payment is happening under every business unit level or operating unit level. Okay, so how we achieve this complete shared service model? It's because of the business functions concept. It is because of the business functions concept. It's because of this. Okay, what is a business function? What is a business function? And how we can tweak these business functions, or what sort of configurations or setups has to be done to achieve these kind of models. I'll explain you in tomorrow's session. So I would like to stop for today, because today I have already explained more theory part. So that's why I don't want to explain another or more theory. So I'm stopping for today. So I'm just, before I end this session, I would like to give some curiosity. That is the reason I started discussing about these models. So tomorrow we'll see centralized procurement, how we can achieve using the business functions. Okay. So that's all for today. Stop.